So anyway, you just finished treatment, or what? It's been about 2 or 3 months, you said?
Yes.
So, and now, how did you feel when you're going through all of your treatment?
Okay, the first 3 treatments of chemo, really great. Did a lot of, did some stuff. Was tired. For a week, and then the next 2 weeks was okay, not too bad. But then my 3rd, 4th, and 5th, 4th, 5th, and 6th chemo, forget it. I was like chemo coma.
And what's your occupation?
Sign language interpreter.
So were you able to do any of that, or?
No. Okay. I stopped working after the double bilateral mastectomy, and I couldn't go back. I haven't even gotten back yet. So I've tried. It's not yet.
Seems like there'd be a disconnect.
Oh,
I mean, it's such brain power to be able to do the
very
hands
much so.
and speak and watch somebody else. I mean, that's
multitasking at its finest, and then just translating the whole different language and everything like that. So, yeah.
So, I mean, you're going through this treatment, and I remember this. It's your schedule is so tight and so revolved around your chemo day and like how you're feeling and all of these different things. I mean, what happens at the end when you don't have a schedule anymore and you don't have a plan?
You feel like you've been brought to your knee in some ways, because I mean, I used to have a full schedule with work,
right?
And then it became this full schedule of doctor's appointments and going to this person and going to that, or going to OT or going to and everything revolved around the doctors or the treatment plan and what we're going to do, or just resting. And then when you stop, it's like, okay, what do I do now?
Well, what does that make you feel like?
Well, it's almost, it's twofold. You're sad because you had this kind of safety net, but then you're thrilled because you're over.
Yeah.
It's done with. So it's just this really weird feeling of these two worlds, and just, it's just not, it's hard to explain.
It almost, to me, it kind of feels like a marathon runner where you have this elation from coming to the finish line, but then you've got the pain of the running of the race, you know?
Yeah. And then you kind of go, okay, I've trained for all this time, what do I do next?
Right.
Yeah. I go home and eat some apple pie, or what? I mean, what do you do? And they don't really tell you that much. Like, okay, so here's your next thing. After chemo it was, okay, now it's radiation. Oh, okay. So it's like this new thing, which wore me out. The skin stuff. Well, yeah, very sensitive and everything like that. So, it's just. And then once you stop that, you're all excited, but then you're like, okay, what do I do now?
Right.
And I think that's just that journey.
What steps are you taking right now to try to move forward after all of this? Do you have some things in mind that you're trying to do to get back on track?
Definitely. Since I've done all the treatment, and I asked the doctor, I said, so what do I do now? And she says, you've done everything that you can as far as treatment goes. And I'm thinking, well, there's still a lot of things I can do, you know. So basically, I have cut sugar and flour.
Okay.
Completely, which is hard, because I really like my breads and pizza and all that kind of stuff. So they're not my friends anymore, and I've cut that, and I'm really looking, I'm starting to at least be able to read and remember some things, not a whole lot, but just a little bit, and I'm starting to read up on what's good for me. What do I need to be taking? What supplements do I need to be doing? What are the good foods for me? What do I need to do to keep me as healthy as I can so I don't have to do this again.
Right. How about exercise? Are you broaching that one yet, or?
I have tried to do some. I've done some walking, and my back is hurting me, my lower back. So I've been trying to do some core. Because I tell you what, the flab comes with all.
Isn't that funny? I thought
just
that
the sitting.
there's the icon of like you know when I was growing up with that skinny person going through chemo, like.
Okay,
I haven't met anybody that.
No. This is what I did not like, and every time I would go in to get weighed at the oncologist, the radiologist, and I would look at them and I say, the Genae chemo diet is not working for me. What is wrong with this picture?
Yeah.
You know, I was always so upset because it was like, this is not fair. You know, I'm a big girl. So I was like, you know, come on, there's got to be some bennies to this.
Right.
You know? And I didn't even lose weight. So it was like, this is not fair. I'm gaining weight. I gained weight. I was like, oh, are you serious?
Right.
Yeah. So I'm hoping that with the reconstruction, I'm going to start getting some bennies because I'm like, you know, hey, I've gone through this whole thing. I want some benefits.
That's a good point. You know, and then also, you know, to transition, you know, I think a lot of people jump in and they do too much in a short period of time, and we have very limited willpower, right? And so as we're making changes and trying to incorporate them into habits, if you do a little bit at a time, it doesn't tax your willpower as much. And so easing into it, I think, is a really great way to do it. And so just, you know, this is what I'm going to do, this is my plan, and...
Oh, well, I had the crazy notion, I don't know about anybody else in this, but I had the crazy notion of, it was that crazy thing where you're first pregnant and you, it's going to be different with me and da-da-da. And then the reality of the situation is, oh my gosh, you know, your world is like turned upside down. And so I was like, oh, well, I'll be back to work after a couple of weeks. I don't know what was I thinking? I must have been on some kind of denial road for sure. I know. It was crazy.
I think that's a really good point. I think it's a really good point. I think that I kind of surfed through it in denial a lot of the time, but I really believe after working with so many people and our website, Beyond the Booby Trap, and I really believe that if you can imagine a sphere, and you can either stay after treatment, you can either stay at the equator, which is basically status quo, nothing changes, relationships suffer, you don't grow, you just kind of, you know, and then you can fall below, which is depression, isolation, you know, and more of a victim mentality, like, look what happened to me, woe is me. Or you can rise above that equator. And that's it's really about accountability. It's really about, I need to change my diet, I need to move forward, whatever that looks like. If I need to surround myself with positive people, people that are doing the same thing, and so...
Amen, sister.
So, well, cheers to being through.